Welcome, brave souls, to Fear File Chronicles, your one-way ticket to spine-chilling stories and terrifying tales. Tonight, we'll be diving into the darkest corners of the human mind with the story, All-Consuming Darkness, penned by the twisted mind of Jackson Loves Horror. Together, we'll explore the unexplained and face our deepest fears. But before we begin, if you enjoy trembling and terror, be sure to hit that like button, share this video with your fellow fear fanatics, and subscribe to our channel. Don't forget to click the bell notification so you never miss an eerie episode. Your support truly means the world to us, so feel free to leave a comment below to join the Fear File Chronicles community. Now, without further ado, let's unravel the mysteries of the unknown together as we delve into tonight's fear-inducing story, All-Consuming Darkness. Dim the lights and prepare yourself for a chilling journey into the Fear File Chronicles.
Look, I'm telling you, you're wrong.
Then what is it, genius?
You can't die of alcohol poisoning, you dipshit.
What the hell are you talking about?
You're just mad because you know I'm right.
This happens every time we hang out. The predictable routine of Paul and Ray getting too drunk and launching into an argument over trivial matters. If it wasn't so entertaining, it would be annoying. Intervening in the escalating spat, I interjected, "Hey, guys." They both turned to look at me. "Why don't you drink more and find out?" I smirked, my suggestion hanging in the air. Ray shot back, a sneer on his lips.
Why don't you drink more, dumbass?
To be fair,
Donnie said, looking up from his book.
he's got to drive you two home.
Ray squinted, confusion painting his features.
When did that get decided?
"When you chose to get hammered," Ray scoffed dismissively.
That's not a choice to get together like this.
Paul, no longer able to contain his exasperation, threw his hands up.
What do you mean, it's not a choice, you fucking alcoholic?
I mean, it's not choice.
Suddenly, the loud smack of a fist meeting a table broke through the cacophony. Everyone's attention snapped to the source of the noise, where Lou stood, his fist curled up and resting against the table. Annoyance evident in his voice. Lou demanded,
"I swear to God, can you guys go a single guy's night without arguing?"
In my defense, I quickly interjected, "Donnie and I weren't doing anything." Lou sighed, his gaze settling on me.
"Vic, I know. You're fine."
He continued, an undercurrent of fatigue in his voice.
"I'm tired. You guys are definitely waking my neighbors. Paul, Ray, Donnie, get out."
Donnie protested immediately.
What? Why me?
Lou fired back without missing a beat.
"Because this is my house."
Ray, visibly disgruntled, grabbed his keys and started for the door, declaring,
Fine with me.
in a concerned voice, I attempted to reason with him. "Hey, Ray, maybe one of us should drive." Interrupting me, Ray roared.
I said fine with me!
Pausing at the door, he seemed momentarily disoriented. Lou, clearly done with the night's theatrics, commanded.
"Raymond, get out!"
Ray turned around, an uncertain expression on his face, and uttered an eerie question.
Hey, Lou? Where's the outside?
Everyone turned to look at him. Incredulous, Lou shot back.
"What the hell are you talking about, Ray?"
Ray's eyes were wide with confusion as he repeated,
I mean, where's the outside?
I stepped up next to Ray and peered out. The sight that greeted us was nothing. Utter darkness. There was no sign of the familiar landscape that should have been there. It was as if someone had thrown a sheet over the doorway, obscuring our view of the outside. "Lou, toss me a beer," I called out. Catching the beer he tossed over, I opened it and started to pour it out the door. The amber liquid spilled out into the inky void, vanishing without a trace. I let go of the can, straining to hear the sound of it hitting the ground. The silence was oppressive. With a chill running down my spine, I uttered, "There's no outside." Lou, Paul, and Donnie rushed to the door and peered out into the impossible darkness.
"What?"
Lou began, his voice barely a whisper.
Where is everything?
Paul's voice trembled with fear.
Oh my God.
Donnie breathed out, his eyes wide with shock. Drained of all color, Lou closed the door and directed Donnie.
Call your mom.
Donnie quickly dialed his mom's number, but there was no response.
She's not picking up, Lou.
Lou turned to me, an uneasy look in his eyes.
Hey, Vic.
I returned his gaze. What?
Did you drop the can?
Yeah, I answered, a heavy feeling settling in my stomach.
Was there a sound?
Lou pressed, his hands nervously running through his hair. No, I admitted, my voice barely audible. Lou sank to the floor, his hands on his head. He looked up at me, his eyes reflecting a deep, primal fear.
Vic?
Yeah.
Where are we?
Wiping sweat off my forehead, I managed to choke out. I don't know. Meanwhile, Paul ran to the bathroom, his steps hurried. The sound of him retching echoed back to us from the living room, stark against the unnatural silence that had enveloped us. Ray started pacing around, his voice a panicked whisper.
Shit, 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 shit.
Donnie, his eyes wild with fear, said,
What the hell do we do?
and grabbed Lou. Angrily, Lou pushed him off.
Hey, get off! How am I supposed to know?
We could only watch as Paul staggered back from the bathroom, his face pale. Concerned, I asked. Paul, are you okay? He grimaced, forcing a half-hearted joke.
I don't know. Why wouldn't I be?
Sorry, was all I could respond. The following hour dragged on painfully. Lou hadn't moved from his spot. Donnie nervously paced every corner of the house in futile attempt to find reception. Ray drowned his anxiety in more alcohol. Paul sobbed quietly into the couch pillows. I kept my gaze locked on the TV, which stubbornly refused to turn on. Ray finally broke the silence, his words cutting through the tension.
Maybe there's an end to the darkness.
I shot back. Ray, you need to stop drinking.
Fuck off!
He retorted, pouring himself another shot. I retreated upstairs to Lou's room, sitting on his bed. Opening his bedside drawer, I searched for something, anything, that could help us find our way back to reality.
What are you doing, Vic?
Lou's voice sounded from behind me. Do you still have your gun? I asked him.
Of course.
He responded, his voice echoing in the dim room. Where's the weapon? I couldn't find it in your drawer. Lou let out a soft, secretive chuckle, his lips curling into a wry smile.
I apologize. I tend to tuck it away in different spots.
I turned to look at him, my eyebrows nodding in mild frustration. Doesn't that seem rather inconvenient?
Perhaps to you.
He shrugged nonchalantly. Suddenly, I felt his arms coil around me from behind, his beard prickling against my shoulder. Lou, I murmured, glancing towards the stairwell. Not with the guys downstairs.
I know, but I'm scared.
I offered him no words, simply patted his cheek lightly in reassurance. And the gun? I finally asked, my voice dropping to a near whisper. He tightened his grip momentarily.
Under the bed.
Thank you, I muttered. He finally released me, and I swiftly fetched the gun. Though not as well versed with firearms as Lou, I understood the basic mechanics of using one. All right, guys, let's test something, I announced, my voice resonating through the space as I descended the stairs.
What's up?
Donnie questioned, his voice laden with curiosity. Casually, I displayed the gun to the group. Boom! The room fell silent as I carefully opened the door, the other 4 guys clustering around me. The weapon felt cold and potent in my grasp, a shiny revolver that still held the sheen of being unused. I steadied my aim and fired into the relentless abyss. The muzzle flash fizzled out, failing to break the blackness, the bullet disappearing before we could process the act.
Well, that didn't work.
Ray grumbled, disappointment lacing his voice. And then we heard it. A loud, gravelly groan splintered the suffocating silence. In haste, Lou slammed the door shut.
Oh, God.
He whimpered, his face paling.
What the hell was that?
Ray exploded, his eyes wild.
We don't know. Stop yelling.
Paul snapped, his face twisted in irritation. In response, Ray wheeled around, his fist connecting with Paul's stomach. Paul staggered backward, a groan of pain escaping his lips as he crumpled to the floor.
Hey!
Lou yelled, launching himself at Ray. Ray was a burly man, and it took the combined strength of Lou, Donnie, and me to wrestle him to the ground. "Chill out, Ray," I roared, my voice struggling against his protests.
Get off!
He shrieked, his voice echoing through the room. Lou managed to secure him in a headlock, and after what felt like an eternity, Ray finally succumbed to unconsciousness. We heaved him off the ground, hauled his limp form to the garage, and bolted the door behind us.
Damn, dude.
Donnie muttered, gnawing at his nails nervously as he watched Ray through the window.
Go check on Paul.
Lou instructed, his voice firm. I rushed over to Paul, who was still on the floor. "Hey, buddy. You okay?" I asked, lightly patting his cheek.
Yeah, God, it hurts.
"Let me take a look." With shaky hands, Paul unbuttoned his shirt. A nasty purple bruise had begun to bloom where Ray's punch had landed. I gingerly probed the area, causing Paul to gasp sharply. "Does that hurt?"
Yes, it does.
Paul cried, his voice strained. After wrapping some ice cubes in a rag, I handed it to him. "Press this against your stomach." Paul nodded silently, the coolness of the makeshift ice pack immediately bringing him relief. "Don't move, okay?" With a groan, he complied and soon drifted off to sleep. I walked over to the television, attempting to power it on. No success. About to join Lou and Donnie at the garage, I was brought to a halt by that haunting groan once more. I glanced towards the door, my heart pounding in my chest. In the distance, a faint light flickered. "Hello?" I yelled, my voice slicing through the silence. No reply came. "Hello!" I yelled again, desperation creeping into my voice. Still, silence reigned.
Hey, Vic?
Paul's weak voice stirred the silence. Sweat was pouring down his face and he was barely conscious. "What's up, Paul?"
Was that a light?
I swallowed hard. "Yeah."
Do you think it's help?
My eyes started to sting. "I don't know, Paul." His face fell.
I hope it's help.
He coughed, his body shaking with the effort. "I'm sorry," I murmured, sitting beside him.
Sorry for what?
He inquired, his eyes clouded with confusion. "I can't do anything." Paul coughed again.
It's okay.
He managed to whisper. I remained beside him until Lou returned to the living room.
Ray's awake.
He informed us, his voice tight. Paul's eyes widened, flickering open and shut in a rapid rhythm.
Vic, is he okay?
Lou questioned, a note of worry lacing his words. "He needs a doctor," I admitted, my voice faltering. Lou cursed under his breath and adjusted his glasses.
All right. We need to find a way out of here.
I saw a light, Lou. Lou fell silent.
That's good, right?
I don't know. His face fell.
Oh.
Suddenly, loud slamming noises filled the room. "What is that?" I cried, my heart pounding.
That's Ray.
Together, Lou and I rushed to join Donnie, our eyes wide as we watched Ray thrashing himself against the door in a terrifying frenzy.
Let me out, dickheads!
Ray roared. I felt a pang of sympathy as I glanced at Paul. "Ray, you've hurt Paul," I stated, my voice barely above a whisper.
Good.
Ray fired back, a malicious glint in his eyes. Ray approached the garage refrigerator, his sole intention to scour for alcohol. Suddenly, a triumphant
Bingo!
echoed through the garage. Ray was pulling out bottles of hard liquor, his victory clear. My gaze shifted to Lou. "He isn't planning to stop, is he?" I queried, a sinking feeling in my gut.
No way in hell.
A loud crash resonated through the room. Ray had thrown a bottle against the door.
Fuck! Missed.
He hollered. His intention was clear now. He wanted to harm us. Desperate, I turned to Lou. "How much ammo is left in the gun?"
I'm not sure. I left it with Paul.
Without a second thought, I darted towards Paul. He was shaking uncontrollably. Paul! Buddy, God! I muttered, horrified.
I need warmth.
He mumbled, his voice weak. I quickly guided him onto the couch, draping a warm blanket over his frail body. As he drifted into sleep, his body continued to quiver. Hold on, Paul, I silently pleaded. Don't leave us now. My heart dropped as I picked up the gun. Empty. No ammo, I cried out, dread seeping into my voice.
Check under the sink,
Came the swift response. With adrenaline pumping, I rummaged under the sink, finding a tiny box. Inside, 6 bullets. 1 man. A wave of reluctance washed over me. I really didn't want to do this. I've got it, I announced, rushing towards the escalating chaos. Ray, drowning himself in liquor, continued his futile attempts at damaging the unscathed window on the door. Ray, I bellowed, pressing the gun against the window. Stop this madness. Ray responded with a raucous laugh.
Go on then. I ain't stopping.
An eerie groan resonated once again. I handed the firearm to Donnie. Hold on to this, I instructed.
But I don't know how to use this.
Donnie protested. Well, let's hope you won't have to, I replied grimly. Bracing myself, I ventured back to the front door and swung it open. The light had now morphed into a pulsating red glow. Hey, I called out into the strange luminescence. A response came, a calming feminine voice.
Victor Rosenberg.
Caught off guard, I staggered back. Who are you? I managed to stutter.
I am the one known as Miasma.
Came the cryptic response. Another red glow appeared. Miasma? I echoed, a chill running down my spine. More glows emerged, filling the space with a surreal, red-lit panorama. It was like gazing at a crimson version of the night sky.
I am the embodiment of nothing. Purity through emptiness.
Why? I began, but was cut off.
Have you ever had a faint memory of someone, unsure if they ever truly existed?
Miasma asked, its tone eerily calm. Of course, I admitted, my mind reeling.
That is their fate.
Miasma explained cryptically. The red lights began to form a face devoid of features, except for 2 dark eyes, and a mouth devoid of teeth, piercing through the surrounding void.
Sometimes people vanish without a trace. No one remembers them. It isn't their fault. They simply existed at the wrong time.
Miasma elucidated, its mouth remaining still. So, how do we escape this place? I inquired, desperate for a lifeline.
You don't.
Suddenly, a crash interrupted our conversation. Donnie and Lou burst into the living room.
He's breaking in.
Lou screamed, his face pale with terror. Damn it, I cursed. Even as I diverted my attention away from Miasma, its haunting voice echoed in my mind.
The void claims all in time.
I found myself speechless. Emerging from the garage through the shattered glass, Ray appeared, his feet bleeding profusely. Donnie fired off 3 shots in quick succession, each missing their mark. Ray lunged at him, tackling him to the ground before raining punches onto him. As Lou backed away, I found myself frozen in shock.
Grab him!
Came the order. With all the strength I could muster, I managed to put Ray in a chokehold.
Get off me!
Ray roared, slamming me against the wall. Pain coursed through my body, but I held on. Don't let go, I reminded myself. Slowly, I managed to drag him towards the doorway. Lou! I shouted. Lou wiped tears from his face.
Vic!
He responded, his voice cracking. I love you, I confessed, the words ringing in the tense air. With a kick, Ray and I plunged into Miasma's endless void. I clenched my eyes shut, gripping Ray tightly until his body felt light in my arms, slipping from my grasp. When I finally opened my eyes, I found myself floating in a vast emptiness, the house nowhere in sight. Ray, however, was held in stasis by miasma.
Victor.
Miasma's voice rang out again. I found myself staring at miasma, unable to look away.
I lied.
Miasma declared, its voice chilling to the bone. My gaze was transfixed on miasma's hollow eye sockets, radiating a sickeningly brilliant shade of pink. Each pulse of this terrifying luminescence seemed to roar in my ears, growing increasingly brighter. Paralyzed with terror, Ray stared in disbelief. As miasma's mouth agape, a cacophony of petrifying screams echoed from within its dark abyss. Without warning, arms extended from miasma's maw. They latched onto Ray, dragging him into the chilling void. Miasma snapped its jaws shut, and Ray was swallowed whole into its horrifying darkness, vanished for eternity. Stammering, I managed to utter, am I next? Miasma's spectral grin stretched across its face.
No.
Confused, I asked, what now? Its reply was simple.
Close your eyes.
I complied, squeezing my eyes shut.
Open.
Obediently, I opened my eyes. Suddenly, I found myself back in Lou's familiar living room. Dumbfounded, I managed to stammer. What? Rushing to the door, I wrenched it open. Outside, the world was as I remembered it. My car was parked in the driveway, alongside Ray's, Donnie's, and Paul's vehicles. The neighbors' houses stood silently under the night sky, bathed in the light of the moon and street lamps. Overwhelmed by relief and confusion, I collapsed to my knees and began to sob. Lou, we're home. I managed between my sobs. There was no answer. Lou, I called out again, my voice echoing in the empty house. I combed through the entire house in search of him, but there was no one. In the garage, amidst the bottles of hard liquor and shards of broken glass, Ray was nowhere to be seen. The living room was equally deserted. Paul's blanket lay on the couch, but he was absent. An ominous stain of blood marked the spot where Donnie should have been. I ventured into Lou's room, his gun still hidden under the bed. Lou, I whispered, my voice barely above a murmur. The faint memories of Lou flooded back. The feel of his arms around me, his beard tickling my neck. I spotted one of his shirts discarded on the floor. I picked it up, inhaling the lingering scent of him. It was comforting, distinctly Lou, for what felt like hours. I sat there, clinging to his shirt and soaking in the last remnants of his presence. Eventually, I gathered myself enough to bring his shirt with me, clutching it like a lifeline as I headed towards my car. Outside, the air was chilly, a light drizzle misting the ground. With a trembling hand, I turned the keys in the ignition. As I drove away from the house, tears streamed down my face. The ominous words of miasma echoed in my mind. My body may have found its way home, but my heart remained ensnared within miasma's terrifying grasp. Well, my friends, we've reached the end of tonight's chilling tale, All-Consuming Darkness by the talented Jackson Loves Horror. I hope you've enjoyed our descent into darkness, and that you'll carry a piece of the Fear File Chronicles with you as you drift into uneasy dreams. If our story left you shivering and shaking, don't forget to like this video, share it with others who crave a good scare, and subscribe to the Fear File Chronicles for more haunting horrors. Remember to hit the bell notification so you're always among the first to know when a new nightmare awaits. As always, we appreciate your support and would love to hear your thoughts in the comments below. Sharing your fears and frights with us truly means a lot, so don't be shy to engage with our sinister community. Until next time, remember to embrace the darkness, for it is within the shadows that our most terrifying stories are born. Good night, and stay scared.